So the Eagles were back at practice today, where they may have revealed some of their huge plans for how they're going to utilize Saquon Barkley this season, and safe to say it's going to be scary for NFL defenses. Meanwhile, Eagles corner turned safety James Bradberry spoke to the media, where he addressed his future that may or may not include staying in Philadelphia. Also, offensive coordinator Kellen Moore talked about his strategy for how he's going to utilize A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, and the Eagles wide receivers this season, and it's much more creative than last year. Plus, Eagles rookie Quinyon Mitchell is getting first team reps at practice, and he actually kind of locked down A.J. Brown on one particular play, while Jalen Hurts continued his historic start to training camp. So we're going to talk about that and all the other news from Eagles training camp, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So first, let's start off with some big moves that were made around the NFL yesterday that make Howie Roseman and the Eagles look really, really smart, as two of the league's bright young quarterbacks got big extensions, and the Dolphins' Tua Tagovailoa, who got paid a 4-year, $212 million extension, and the Packers quarterback Jordan Love, who got 4 years and $220 million. And these extensions make them the fourth and first highest paid QBs in the league respectively, and I mention this because when you look at Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts and his contract, it's starting to look more and more like a bargain every day, as Hurts is now the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league after signing an extension last year that at the time made him the league's highest paid QB. And with the way the contract is structured, Hurts only is going to count for $13.5 million against the cap this season, which is less than what a lot of these other quarterbacks who are getting signed to big extensions will count for. So here's yet another example of Howie Roseman being smart by signing his players to extensions early and setting the market, all while Dak Prescott is still waiting on the Cowboys to pay him, and you can pretty much 100% guarantee that his new deal is going to make him the highest paid QB in the league, so you just absolutely love to see it. And someone else who could be looking to get paid soon, depending on how this season goes, is center Cam Jurgens, as he enters the year with high hopes and some very big shoes to fill, with Jason Kelce, of course, now being retired. And while this may seem like a ton of pressure for Cam to handle with how great and beloved Kelce was, Jurgens doesn't quite see it that way. As in the new unscripted video that the Eagles just released, Jurgens explained his mentality as he prepares to take over for Kelce.
Yeah, I think there's a weight to taking over that center position for Kelce, because he's been there for so long, and not just him, but all the linemen that's been through the Eagles. There's a tradition there. You know, since when is the center the most popular person in the state? You know, everybody knows Jason Kelce, but at the same time, you know, I'm never worried about trying to live up to a legacy. You know, this is my legacy. These are my shoes that I'm filling, and you know, I'm going to go out there and do the best I can every day. And I know I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to worry about what I can do and not how I can be the best replacement for someone that is retired and someone that means so much to the city.
So I think this is the exact right mentality for Cam to have. And you know, Jurgens even said this same exact thing earlier in the offseason, as if he's focused on trying to be the next Jason Kelce or trying to live up to his legacy, that's where he could get himself in trouble mentally, which is why it's just so great that he's been consistent in saying that he's just going to work hard and focus on getting better and becoming the best player that he can be. And as long as he does that, he should be fine. And now, staying on the offensive line, we look at the new longest tenured member in the group in Lane Johnson, as the All-Pro right tackle was recently honored by his peers, being ranked number 41 on the NFL's annual Top 100 ranking, which, interestingly enough, is exactly where he ranked last year, so this is definitely very well deserved, as Lane is still one of the very best tackles and best offensive linemen in general in the entire NFL, and he has been for a long time, so it's only right that he continues to get recognized as such. And there's just no doubt in my mind that he's only going to continue his dominant play into this year, while also being the Eagles' now eldest leader on the offensive line. But Johnson isn't the only leader on the line, as left tackle Jordan Mailata is clearly becoming one as well, as it's been evident all offseason that with Kelce gone, Mailata has taken it upon himself to step into more of a leadership role, and that's become even more obvious just a couple practices into training camp, as Mailata was not happy with the sloppy play and pre-snap penalties from the offensive line during the first practice at camp, causing him and Cam Jurgens to make the entire offensive line run gassers as a way to hold themselves accountable. And Mailata explained why he thought this was so important after Thursday's practice.
It's unacceptable that we had 3 false starts yesterday, and that was including myself on the very first play of practice. So, you know, there needs to be discipline to, again, uphold the standard. They didn't want to do it, but, you know, I think as a core unit, you know, if one messes up, we all mess up, because we have to have that same mentality of holding each other accountable. You know, some of the guys may not like it, but it's too bad. Again, we're trying to build a winning culture here, and you know, honestly, that's the way you got to get it done.
So you gotta love that mentality from Mailata there. And on top of this, Jordan talked about how becoming a more prominent leader has just been natural for him, as he had some great role models that taught him everything he needs to know about leading, including Jason Kelce. So again, it's just amazing that Mailata has stepped up as a leader who holds guys accountable, and I can't wait to see him stepping more and more into that role as training camp goes on. Speaking of which, the Eagles were back out on the practice field on Saturday, which was also Military Day at Eagles training camp, with different members and branches of the U.S. military there to watch practice. So good on the Birds for honoring the real heroes. You just love to see that. But now, getting back to football, the first guys out on the field before practice were Kenneth Gainwell and Joseph Ngata, as the running back and wide receiver were getting some extra work in on the jugs machine, and this was happening while Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore took to the podium for his pre-practice press conference, and he talked about a lot, including the concept of getting the running backs like Kenny Gainwell involved in the passing game, who actually got multiple first-team targets on Saturday. But the main guy he was talking about was Saquon Barkley, and it seemed like Moore may have actually leaked some plans on how the Birds want to use him this season.
Yeah, Saquon's obviously a special player. You can see it out here just without even pads. Just his burst quickness, his ability to hit the hole. Obviously, he'll be a guy that you can utilize at all aspects of the field. He can be a space player, which we're excited about in the passing game, and so he's going to be able to attack people in a lot of different ways.
So that's definitely super exciting, because Moore pretty much confirmed what I think we all knew regarding how Saquon Barkley is going to be utilized, as he said that it won't just be a downhill run game, they're going to utilize him in a variety of different ways, and that includes as a weapon in the passing game. And we've already seen that in practice, as we've got reports from the first few practices revealing that Saquon has had a lot of catches out of the backfield during 11-on-11s, and also that he's been given a ton of touches in general, possibly even the most on offense. So it's pretty clear that Kellen Moore and the Eagles plan to utilize Saquon a lot, and the passing game is going to be a big part of that, and that's just so exciting, because it's just one more thing that defenses are going to have to account for when facing the Eagles offense, which is going to make them just so much harder to stop. And something else that's going to do that is Jalen Hurts' rushing ability, which is something else that Kellen Moore made clear is going to be a big part of the Eagles offense.
Yeah, certainly it's been an excellent factor that Jalen's been able to utilize, just being an extra guy in the run game. Certainly something we want to continue to build off of. It's a great strength of Jalen. He does an excellent job, and I think he's a really smart runner. I think that's a critical factor to that he's smart with the ball. He's smart with when to make those decisions, and I think he protects himself pretty well.
So that's no surprise. I mean, we know the Eagles want to utilize Jalen's legs as much as they can. The exciting part about this, though, is that it seems like Jalen has his speed back, with multiple reporters echoing the same sentiment that Jalen has looked faster all throughout camp so far, with reporter Ruben Frank even going as far to say that he looks like he's a rookie again with how fast he is. However, the question is, can the Eagles keep him healthy enough so that Jalen's speed remains throughout the whole season and into the postseason? So that's going to be the real challenge and something to monitor throughout the year. But right now, it's just promising that it looks like Jalen's got his speed back. And something else that's promising is just how great Jalen has been to start training camp, with Kellen Moore saying that he's running the offense well, and he's looked smooth through 2 practices before Saturday's session began. And that only continued for Hurts on Saturday, as he looked great once again, starting off 4 for 4 and completing passes to A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith in team drills. Then in one-on-ones, he had a really nice dime to Paris Campbell, where the coverage by Darius Slay was good, but Hurts put the ball where only Campbell could get it, and he made a really nice catch to score the touchdown. Then later, Hurts also had a really good throw to John Ross along the sideline, as Campbell and Ross are seemingly battling for the chance to be wide receiver 3, with Ross going up for the catch and getting both feet in bounds. And overall, Hurts just had another fantastic day of practice, with ESP reporting that Hurts finished the day 18 for 22 on his throws, and also giving the QB tremendous praise, saying, quote, "I've covered Eagles training camp for 12 plus years, and I've never seen a QB start camp completing passes at the rate Hurts is. I'm also not sure I've ever given out an A 3 days in a row." So I know ESP isn't the most liked Eagles reporter, but you just have to be excited by this. I mean, through 3 practices, Hurts has been accurate with the football, great with his reads, and also smart with the football, with no interceptions or turnovers so far. And that's a scary thing for opposing defenses to hear, because I know it's just training camp, but it sounds like Jalen might just be getting back in that MVP form he was in not too long ago, and let's hope that he continues to perform well as training camp goes on. But it wasn't just Hurts who showed out for the offense, as the wide receivers also made some spectacular plays as well, with A.J. Brown snagging a pass with one hand early in practice, which just feels routine for AJ at this point, and DeVonta Smith also catching a ball early in practice over the middle that was apparently a little high, but Smitty was able to go up and make an impressive grab. And then later, Smitty made another insane catch in what was called the catch a camp, climbing up over Keely Ringo to come down with the jump ball. So it's just awesome to hear that the Eagles' 2 star wide receivers are showing out in practice. And speaking of these 2, they're going to be asked to be able to do a lot of different things this season, as Kellen Moore actually spoke about his strategy for utilizing the wide receivers receivers in different spots.
By rule, you have to have a starting point, and so we do have a starting point, but I think it's not going to be a very strong starting point. I think those guys are going to move throughout the game and throughout each and every week, and so that's the strength of theirs, is that their ability to handle all that, and then that goes into that third receiver having the ability to line up in a few different spots based off where those guys line up.
So that's definitely nice to hear, as it seems like, opposed to last year, the wide receivers are going to be used in much more creative ways and moved all around the field, and that's only going to make it harder for defenses to cover them. Plus, I also like the insight Moore gave us on the wide receiver 3 battle, as he said that they're going to have that versatility to be able to move around as well. So for Paris Campbell, John Ross, and the other guys, that's going to be very important as they continue to battle to try and win the starting job. And both Campbell and Ross made nice plays today, with Campbell having that nice rep against Darius Slay and Ross making a couple nice catches. So it's going to be interesting to continue to watch that battle as camp goes on. And of course, that's not the only battle going on at camp, but one that seems like it's getting run away with right now is the battle for tight end number 2, as Kellen Moore said that Grant Calcaterra has really done a good job and established himself in that spot this offseason. So it seems like that's pretty much been decided at this point, but I guess we'll see how the rest of camp goes for him. Then you also got Mekhi Becton battling to start at right guard, and while he didn't get any starting reps at that position today, he did get some starting reps at right tackle in a unique lineup with rookie Trevor Keegan at left guard. So it's clear that the Eagles have some plans for him this year or in the future, and they're trying to give him the most opportunities possible. And then you also have the battles going on the defensive side of the ball, first at linebacker with Zach Bond starting out next to Devin White, but then Nakobe Dean rotating in later, so that continues to be a tight competition. And then at cornerback, things are also interesting with Keely Ringo starting out next to Darius Slay, and then of course Isaiah Rodgers rotating in as well. But perhaps the most intriguing thing from the cornerback position on Saturday is that the rookie Quinyon Mitchell was given quite a few opportunities, as he had some first team reps in the nickel in dime packages at one point, and then later he also took some first team reps on the outside next to Isaiah Rodgers. Plus the defensive backs and wide receivers also did one-on-ones during practice, and Mitchell was able to have the chance to go up against A.J. Brown, and the rookie actually won the first rep against the All-Pro, making him lose his footing. Then on the next rep, AJ got the better of him on a stop route, but Mitchell apparently had good coverage on that play too. So that's some impressive stuff from Quinyon right there. And it's also really interesting that he was getting first team reps, as so far during camp, Mitchell really hasn't been in that battle to start with Rodgers and Ringo vying for that spot, but it's clear that the Eagles are going to give him opportunities. And if he performs well when he's in there with the first team, for example, then maybe he could actually start to put himself in that conversation to maybe start when the season rolls around. What do you guys think though? What do you make of Quinyon Mitchell getting first team reps during practice? But now moving on to somebody else in the secondary, we look at somebody who is at a really interesting point in his career in James Bradberry. As after a bad season, JB has mainly switched to safety and been taking reps with the second team during camp, and now today he actually spoke to the media for the first time since the end of last season, and he addressed his switch to safety, saying that he suggested it, and he also addressed his future with the team and his current mindset.
A lot of that is out of my control. As far as right now, I'm still under contract for 2 years. I got one year guaranteed. After the season, of course, I didn't have the best season. It's going into my 9th year. I know they signed Isaiah Rodgers as well. We had a lot of young guys in the room at corner anyways. I feel like we was a little lighter at safety. My thought process was to just try to be a valuable piece. Then the draft came, so I kind of figured they was going to draft corners anyways because I didn't play too well. So that was kind of my thought process. And then now I'm learning safety. Those guys are getting a lot more reps. And if the time comes to where I'm still on the team and they want me to play corner, I'm going to be ready. I'm on the team right now. So as far as while I'm on the team, I want to find a role on this team. And I feel like if I'm a versatile player, then I'm going to be a role. And of course I want to start. Now where I'm going to start, I don't know. But I'm working right now at safety to see if I can learn it and play that and be a valuable asset to the team right there. And of course we already have 2 starters. And we also drafted a guy in the first round. And Isaiah Rodgers is really good. So I'm just trying to find my role right now.
Man, I feel like you can say what you're going to say about JB's game and how he played last year, but you gotta respect him. Like, so many NFL guys would be throwing fits in this situation, but Bradberry is handling it like an absolute professional. I mean, from taking accountability for his poor play last season to his self-awareness about the state of the cornerback room, and him just taking it day by day and trying to carve himself out a role in this team, even when he doesn't even know if he's going to be here this season, is just so darn respectable. I mean, JB seems to know that there's a good chance he won't be here for much longer, yet he is still bringing it every every single day to practice and trying to do his best to help the team. So whether it's with the Eagles or not, I truly do wish Bradberry the best moving forward, because he is a true professional, and who knows, maybe he still has something left in the tank. But now just getting to a few other standouts or nice plays from Saturday's practice, Kenny Pickett continues to impress as the quarterback number 2, as he seems to be a clear upgrade over Marcus Mariota as the backup, and he had a really nice 30-plus yard throw today for an over-the-shoulder completion to Britton Covey, who had actually beaten Quinyon Mitchell. Then you also got Jalix Hunt with a nice bat down of a Tanner McKee pass at the line of scrimmage, and then you have Jalen Carter doing Jalen Carter things as he got a sack during team drills. And overall, it's been a really nice start to camp for Carter in the defensive line, as it was reported that the defensive line was getting the better of the offensive line early during Saturday's practice, and Jalen Carter was no doubt a big reason for that. And in my last video, I actually went over Jalen Carter's impressive start to camp, as well as a warning that he issued for the rest of the NFL in an interview. So if you want to watch that video, you can check it out right here. And also make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos just like this. Also drop a like down below and leave a comment just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.